right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. Let's start that conversation on State of the Nation. We're talking about Matiangi raid, Azimio whipping, and the Jubilee feeling disgruntled in that and everything else in between there. It's a State of the Nation. We talk about matters, politics, and everything in between. Honorable Edwin Sifuna is here, Nairobi Senator. Honorable Boni Halwale is also here, Kakamega Senator. And Honorable Samson Cherargei, Nandi Senator, is also with us here. Thank you so much for making time. Let's start off with the Daily Nation front page. There on the top side, police raid Matiangi city home amid row over search warrant. Cherargei, I'll start with you on this. Azimio leader is calling this persecution. Do you agree?
Good morning, Trevor, and Happy New Year. I think this is the first time I'm appearing again on State of the Nation. It's good to be back. One quick is that I don't think this is a political persecution. It is the same Fred Matiang'i who told us sometimes back that when the police are looking for you, if you have not committed an offense, then there is no problem. And you know, this is the culture we have built over the years. For us, a few years ago, I was arrested naked in my bed on 21st April 2022, sick. The police walked into my bed naked at my residence. A number of them, they drove me for 5-6 hours to Nairobi, dumped me at Capitol Hill Police Station. On Friday, I went to court. The court issued court orders that I should be taken to hospital because I had food poisoning because after nomination and the fatigue. I was taken to Gigiri Police Station. The OCS wanted to comply with court orders on that Friday evening to be taken for review for medical examination. A phone call came from former IG of Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai and Dr. Fred Matiang'i that the police should ignore, the OCS of Gigiri should ignore the court order to take me to the hospital. I stayed up to Monday until the magistrate supervised that I was taken to the hospital for checkup. So this is a culture that we were told then. And you know, when I hear Raila Odinga saying, this is a former interior minister, I was a senator. The police should have summoned me so that I appear. But because when we tried making noise then, because we were on the other side, we were told the police are doing their job. And Trevor, when you recant in the hands of police, I remember I was also once arrested in Bungoma, and I slept in Bungoma police station in the county of my brother, Senator Sifuna, and then I've been arrested in Kisumu, I think also your county. So this, of course, the modus operandi of the police is that when, in fact, when Dr. Fred Matiang'i appeared before the National Assembly Committee on Public Administration and National Security, chaired by former Larry MP Peter Mwati, he said the police cannot be looking for you for nothing. In fact, he said something about anticipatory orders. And in fact, he's on record, he's on answer that why would you go to court and bring an anticipatory order if you have not committed an offense or planning to? So as a country, we have come from far. But I want to say that if the police have any justification, my advice as a lawyer, and my senior is here, is I've known when you are arrested by a police officer, make sure you have at least a warm jacket. You don't take a belt to police cell. You don't wear shoes inside. Look for cash bail or bond when you are arrested, and get a good lawyer, because I've seen a number of lawyers making noise here and there that some of them don't appear they are competent enough, but that is beside the point. But that is my advice in case you are arrested. Okay. But from my own point, there is no political persecution. Yeah. These are just drama, and that is why, by the gist of the matter, as I conclude, what I can allow my colleagues, is that the police should have official statement that they had a court order to retrieve the CCTV footage. And by the way, why would Fred Matiang'i refuse to release CCTV footage? Do you know why? Because there was no police raid as alleged by him and his brothers and sisters that were crying you and cry a few days ago. Okay. And that is why the police went to retrieve. They wanted to show the country that there was no alleged police raid. So I think let us allow the police to do their job. Some of us have undergone trauma. I'm still traumatized up to today. That, unfortunately, Trevor, that day my family was not there. So you can imagine the embarrassment that a police officer walks to your bed naked.
Okay.
I felt so indignified. I felt so bad. And you know, I was a leader. I was not running away.
Okay.
So some of us even need counseling so that we can recover from those trauma.
Okay.
Trevor.
All right. Sifuna, what do you make of this back and forth?
And
because there's a statement from the DCI saying that they had court orders to come and get CCTV footage.
Yeah, first, good morning, Trevor. I'm a bit confused as to whether it was the police who were naked when they came to the bed or the senator.
I was naked myself.
Oh, because you said the police came to your bed naked.
No,
before Trevor, we get into that, you know, we in Senate are in a bit of mourning. I'm a member of the Senate Energy Committee, and we were with our colleagues and members of staff from the Senate in Dubai for a training. And a very unfortunate incident happened where one of our researchers, a very senior researcher in the Senate, just died in his hotel room where we were.
Very sad.
And I really want to take this opportunity just to send the condolences to the family of Wellington Namenge. It was a terrible thing. I don't think that any of us have, in the Energy Committee especially, have recovered from the initial shock of learning of how Wellington passed. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to say pole to the family of Wellington and to pray that God gives them the strength even as we prepare to repatriate his remains to the country. To your question, Trevor, you know, our brothers in the Kenya Kwanza coalition are the ones who told us that the era of using police, the EACC and the DCI to pursue political goals was over. And they also say that two wrongs don't make a right. There are many instances that I disagreed with Fred Matiang'i when he was a CS for Interior, including a very public altercation during the Bonchari by-election, where he, you know, is alleged to have sent police to the home of the then governor, you know, James Ongwae, in the presence of the then senator for Kisii County, and other leaders who were present, you know, in terms of just trying to harass them. But that doesn't mean that Matiangi, given all his mistakes, because we all have our own, you know, weaknesses, has given up his rights under the Constitution. You have heard that the allegation is that he was lying about a raid to his house. What essentially should precede this search is you should first of all be charged formally. If the police have suspicion that you have provided you have raised a false alarm against them, they should first of all bring criminal prosecutions against you. And in the course of the conduct of a case, there is a process of discovery of evidence. If there is evidence that you need that the other side is holding in order to pursue your case, you make an application before the court for that evidence to be produced. Now, Trevor, I have heard the lawyers of Honorable Matiangi saying that there were at least 3 applications by the police before the courts for that court order, and that court order was denied in 3 separate instances. If the lawyers are to be believed, then we are going back to those days where police would conduct a raid first and then show up with some funny, strange court order from some backwater station that nobody has ever heard of. We have seen this in the Jimmy Wanjigi case. We saw it even in Miguna's case, that after they conducted the raid, they came and told us that, you know, that there were court orders. So, you know, a person in the position of Matiangi, and I agree even with Senator Cherargei, that even in the position of a senator, if the police want to, you know, arrest you or they have a matter with you, if they send you a summons, you will honor the summons. There is nothing wrong with someone. It's a procedure in law. Matiangi is not running away from anything. He can be summoned to any police station. He will appear, and he will be able to give whatever information the police want from him. But I do not know Fred Matiangi to be a weak person, somebody who would cry wolf over nothing, you know. It is actually something that happened, that there was people who came to his home on that material night, and we are not prone to just crying about nothing. You know, even when you see senior leaders such as the Honorable Raila Odinga, that is not somebody who is known for trivialities. He would not just show up to my house because I am alleging something that is not happening. So what has happened, because if you look at the Constitution, under Article 31, everybody has a right to privacy, which includes the right not to have their homes or property searched. And especially, Trevor, when you conduct such a search, if your intentions are pure, if your intentions are pure, you conduct the search in the presence of the accused person. Because what are you doing in somebody's home in his absence? So that even whatever it is you retrieve from there, you know, there's something called the probative value of evidence. Evidence that is obtained in a manner that is stained will not help you even in court. Yes. So we would want that they would, you know, the truth of the matter is that the government now is doing the exact same thing that they used to accuse the former regime of. Okay. We have seen the use of police to pursue political ends, and this one for Matiangi is no different. Okay. Yeah.
Dr. Luale, what are your thoughts on this? In fact, Raila, the Azimio leader Raila Odinga is calling it persecution and a slide back to a police state.
This is not good. Ordinarily, if it was true that the things that are alleged to have happened to Matiangi really took place, then we should never accept. I would be the last person here and anywhere else to support a situation whereby not just a former minister of state, a minister of internal security, but any Kenyan to be attacked by the police at any time. That is not the Kenya we fought for, the Kenya that we are working for. But the problem is, it is not true. And I'm very disappointed this morning. And you recall I looked for you the last 3 days because I wanted to tell you what is this. Because when this matter first came up and we were on this desk early in the morning, you told us that your camera was there. If the camera of Royal Media was at that home, you should have played it here by now and ended this manenos. Why did you join in lying, not as Trevor, but as Royal Media? We need responsibility. What Matiangi is doing, he's feigning this thing. He had not had time to reflect on it. His mind is still fixed in the mindset that he was using when he was harassing Senator Cherargei, when he was harassing me and others, that you could set up a scene that would then create a make-believe for you to take action against the people that the government didn't like. Yeah. I want to reiterate on this TV that this should mark the end. The issues of Matiangi should be dealt with decisively, the way the DCI communicated yesterday, the way they took action yesterday, so that nobody else, especially senior people, should invite Kenyans, innocent Kenyans, into their own personal challenges. Okay. If by dint of his past activities, Matiangi has committed a crime or crimes, let him face the law as an individual. Okay. It's very important that I reiterate what the president said. He said, we will not use the police, use the provincial administration, even village elders to do politics for us. We at UDA, we have the most formidable network of compared to any other political party, and therefore we don't need state officers, elements of the provincial administration to do our politics. I want to end by telling my brother Sifuna. My Sifuna is a young man I really admire, because I know him as somebody who has never enjoyed the niceties of somebody holding his hand for him to come to where he is. He's fought his way from home there in Bungoma and Fiddle and so on until he's the senator in this city. Sifuna, you shed off any attempt to be a sycophant of Raila. Raila was literally frog-marched into this thing. You could even see it when he was giving the statement. He was half asleep. Don't support him when he's wrong. Just condemn it and say, may the matter be decided purely on fact.
Yeah, but Senator, how do you know that this is not true? But for the record, I said our cameras were there when the allegation was made. Whether it captured the people were there earlier on or not is irrelevant. That is for the DCI to decide. When the allegations were made that there was an attempt to raid Matiangi's home, we were the first on scene. But how do you know that they were really not there?
Because I'm an intelligent man. Yes. An intelligent brain is supposed to observe. Trevor, an intelligent brain, and I'm not the only one in this room. We all are intelligent. An intelligent mind is supposed to observe and infer. In this particular incident, none other than Dunstan Omari, a very senior lawyer who we respect, he said it when we were seated here, that there were 200 lawyers in that compound. Really, in the era of mobile telephony, there was no this single person who could have just taken on 200 lawyers is a crowd.
Okay.
So the fact that they are not giving us this confirms that this is just a drama.
Yeah. Okay.
And we want to move the country because Cherargei and Sifuna, and even yourself, you are young people, we want to bequeath you a country of law and order.
Okay. Cherargei, you want to jump in before
my brother comes in.
Yeah.
I saw an advert, if I'm correct, of Media Council of Kenya, saying that if you have information concerning the raid, you should share either with pictures and the videos. So just what the police told us yesterday in the statement through DCI is that they had already gotten a court order. And I think the lawyers of Dr. Fred Matiang'i, 200 of them, are not being honest with Kenyans. Because if they were confessing, I think maybe they left the court early to go and do dramas or something, because they should have even be given a copy of the court order. Yeah. But I think what should happen, if the former interior minister as any court case, then he should the court should be followed. We have had allegations of Ruaraka land scandal, and I saw Raila Odinga mentioning yesterday, I think in the press, and you covered it. I've had allegations of gold that disappeared, of Sheikh. So a number of issues is coming up, and remember my brother Sifuna has mentioned something about court orders of Miguna.
Yeah.
This was the interior minister that was being accused them of ignoring court orders at that point in time. So I agree with when Sifuna says, as leaders, if there are summonses to be issued. I remember when the first time I was arrested in 2019, in August, the DCIO issued summonses on Sunday. I was to appear before Nandil's DCIO on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But by Monday morning, 5 a.m., the police and contingent was swarming around my house like I was a terrorist. They stepped on my very good carpet. 200,000 shillings disappeared. This country, I wouldn't want anybody, I wouldn't wish anybody, even my worst enemy, to undergo what I was going through.
Okay.
And I want to correct it. It's not that the police came into my bedroom naked. They came when I was naked. So,
what were you doing naked?
Yeah, I was sleeping.
All right.
How do you sleep? As we are not night runners, so if you are a night runner, you must be on the clothes. But as we sleep properly.
All right. No. But Sifuna, whether there was an initial raid or not is subject to confirmation. But we know yesterday there was an actual raid to prove that there was no raid. How does that make
sense? It's just ridiculous. First of all, you see, you must commend, Honorable Raila Odinga. For one thing, that he's always there for his friends. Fortunately for Baba, he doesn't sleep naked like Cherargei. So that when there is a call, you are a leader, Cherargei. Things happen in your constituency. If there is a fire at Gikomba, I cannot tell the people of Nairobi that the reason I delayed was because I was sleeping naked. You as a leader must be in some form of dress at all times. But the point that I wanted to make... But you see, unfortunately for us, the question of fact and truth cannot be left to the superior intelligence of Khalwale. However high it is, I'm not saying it's not there, but really we cannot just say that Khalwale knows because he is intelligent. We are saying these are matters that can be ascertained by fact. If there is an issue with the former CS, there is a procedure, and I've tried my best to explain the procedure. There is manner in which evidence that your opponent in a matter, in a case is holding can be ordered to be surrendered to the court so that facts can be ascertained. The procedure that we are seeing, it has, what they say, Trevor, if it works like a duck, works like a duck. We are seeing certain hallmarks of political persecution. And when these leaders speak, even just hearing Cherargei, you can see that he is still very bitter about the things that happened to him. And the tendency of human beings is that if you still feel strongly about something that somebody did, there is this proclivity to try and remind him that now, the shoe is on the other foot. What we are saying is, I would never defend anybody if there is criminal allegations that have been made against him. But this document protects all of us. It sets out the basic law for all of us. It sets out the procedures for how you go about these things. Even if somebody misbehaved in the past, it doesn't mean that he unburdened himself of the protections that are afforded to all of us in the Constitution. That's all I'm saying. And finally, the measure of sycophancy, I don't think also can be left to Khalwale. And it cannot also be that my agreement or my support for my political party is somehow sycophancy, but his isn't. I have chosen over the years, Khalwale, to follow certain leaders because of certain things. And we have had this conversation with you. I decided from a very early age that the things that are attractive to me are principle, their conviction, their strength. If you do not possess any of those, principles, then, I have no business with you as a political leader. I have made that conscious decision to support Raila Odinga because I know him. I know him to be a person who possesses these things that I find attractive in a political leader. Okay. So that is nothing to do with sycophancy, and you don't have to see the disagreements that we have so that you prove that Sifuna is not a sycophant. I can tell you for a fact that because we have structures in the party, we have conversations, including meetings that we did yesterday with him. And in those meetings, that is the forum within which our different views are aired. But that Khalwale knows, and as a whip he knows, once all those discussions are had and the sycophancy is reached, it is incumbent upon all of us to abide by that position and to defend it publicly in forums like this.
All right.
So what is the standard of sycophancy? Because he's
what I'm saying is that it cannot be Khalwale.
It cannot be.
Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we talk about politics now. Raila cracks the whip on Azimio rebel legislators. Also, Jubilee have said they're not going to work with Azimio anymore. There's been a concern around that. See you in just a bit.